Hello.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon.
Morning here. How are you there?
Okay, Nico, I hear you talking. I can't hear you. So I'm hoping it is working.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, I can't hear anyone. Hi. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. You're on mute.
That's my favorite game. I love that.
1 second. There you go.
You got it?
I
Oh,
have my sound off. Yay.
No, I mean, I'm on these Zooms all the time, and to this day, I will always start talking and be on mute. Every time.
Well, I took myself off mute, but I had my laptop on mute, so I couldn't hear anybody.
Same. Okay, cool. Yay, I'm so excited. Nico, is everything looking good on your end?
Yeah, people are joining in there.
Good morning, everyone.
Is it morning or afternoon?
Oh, it's afternoon, everyone. I also have been doing that on every one of these calls. Cordialis, are you feeling good about screen sharing and everything?
I am. I can share my screen right now.
Okay. Well, whenever you're ready, as I'll introduce, and then we're just waiting for some people to join. Nico, let us know when everybody's in. Then I can introduce, and you can just take it from there.
Okay.
Cool. I'll change my screen slightly.
I think people have joined in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got everybody?
I'm not so sure if others are going to join in as you go, but
Okay.
yeah.
Great. Well, then for now, I think let's maybe kick things off. Nico can just let people in if others show up. Let me start by welcoming everyone to today's talk on food as medicine, led by our esteemed colleague, Cordialis Msora-Kasago, who is both a dietitian and a nutritionist, and runs the Africa Pot Nutrition based in California, but is originally from Zimbabwe and works a lot with diaspora communities and communities of color around nutrition and traditional ingredients in her work. So we thought she was a perfect fit for today's talk. Just a little housekeeping. If you're not speaking, go ahead and mute your mic just to cut down on any background noise. And Cordialis is going to present some great information for us, and then we'll have a little bit of time right at the end for about 10 minutes to do more of a discussion. So think of your questions, and we'll have time to open that up at the end of the session. Thanks so much, you guys. Cordialis, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Can you see my screen okay?
I can.
Okay, I see some heads nodding, so that's good. All right, and if you can't hear me for some reason, just let me know and I can speak up, but I've been told I have a very loud voice, so we should be good. So my name is Cordialis, and but my Shona name is Chipo, and everybody else that I know, a lot of people call me Chipo, especially people in Zim. So feel free to call me either Cordialis or call me Chipo. I answer to both names, and I think a lot of people from Zimbabwe can relate to that. So today we are talking about tapping into heritage, right? Which means pulling in, getting what heritage gives us in order to live healthy. And so the broader theme of this is food as medicine. I thought I would start off with one of my favorite quotes. When diet is wrong, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need, right? We hear that so often, that it is very important that you eat well and you need to keep yourself well, and diet is so important. We're seeing an influx of diseases such as diabetes and hypertension and other cardiovascular diseases throughout Africa. And according to the World Health Organization, 80% of these chronic diseases that we're seeing, not only in Africa, but throughout the world, can be prevented through diet and lifestyle changes. So that's 80%. In fact, there is a very strong body of evidence that talks about diabetes and says that when you have diabetes or are pre-diabetic, diet and lifestyle changes can actually reduce your risk by 58%. If you are over 60 years, that risk level drops down to 71%. That right there is the power of diet and what diet and nutrition and lifestyle can do for you. So I'm excited to share a little bit about my philosophy towards this. I am extremely passionate about good food. So it's just so appropriate that I'm talking to you about good food. And it's even more exciting for me to talk about good Zimbabwean food because I love it. But we have a very short window of time. So I'm going to go through this real quickly. And what I decided to do rather than giving a lecture was to give you some little pointers that you can implement today, starting today, in your diet so that you can start to live healthy and feel better. All right. So real quickly, a little primer on here. We know that we have a lot of major chronic diseases. We have heart disease, stroke, cancer, respiratory disease, diabetes. And we ask, what are the causes of these chronic diseases? And just a little primer, chronic diseases are also called non-communicable diseases, as well as diseases of lifestyle. And we're going to be chatting a little bit about that lifestyle when we talk about diet. But the World Health Organization says there are multiple factors that come into place. First, in that first column, you see there that it says underlying social, economic, cultural, political, and environmental determinants, right? Sometimes we call those the social determinants of health. So many times we forget the impact that these have on our health. And I can't touch upon it today, but I put it on the screen because I think it's important that we remember the effects of globalization, of urbanization, of our aging population, and other things that we don't have control over that impact our risk for developing chronic disease. I'm going to focus in on that middle column right there. You know, the common modifiable risk factors. And there's also the non-modifiable risk factors. As much as I want to say that I'm 25, you know, it just doesn't happen. I can't change that. You know, the age keeps ticking and I look and I wonder, where did time go? You know, people that I change diapers are getting married. And so it's just one of those things that happens. I can't change those things. But then when we look at the things that we can change, the common modifiable risk factors, those play a very important role, right? So what are they? Tobacco use, physical inactivity, and unhealthy diet. We're going to talk about unhealthy diet for the rest of this presentation, but I do want to say that if you smoke, you know, find ways to start stopping the habit because it is one of the most common causes of lung cancer, right? As well as other respiratory diseases. Then physical inactivity, I must touch upon this because so many times when people hear the word physical inactivity, I hear them say, I can't go to the gym, my friend, you know, but it's not about going to the gym. It is about being physically active. In fact, I've stopped talking about it in terms of physical inactivity. I say to people, find joyful movement. What makes you happy? Okay? If you like to play soccer, find some other friends and form a team and form a league. And every Thursday and Friday, go do what boys do or girls and play soccer, right? Play netball, find something that makes you happy. If you're a dancer, you know, put on your favorite Jah Praiser song or whoever your favorite musician is. You know, everybody's all crazy about Jerusalem. Have you ever tried to dance that for 20 minutes straight? You break out in a sweat, you know, but find opportunities for joyful movement. Physical activity does not have to be going to a gym or running a marathon, you know, just find things that make you happy and move your body, right? And then we're going to talk about unhealthy diet. I think that's the biggest thing that we're going to talk about. That's our emphasis of our presentation. So on here, I have a plate. I have a plate of food. I see some people, yay, you know, on the screen. And on this plate is sadza, is some vegetable, is some fish. Or as people now call it, right? I'm eating my carbs, I'm eating my protein, and of course the other F word, fat, right? People are talking a lot about all these foods in those components. But when we look at this, and when we look at this plate, we get more than just carbohydrate, fat, and protein. There are vitamins that come in with these plates. all these vitamins, plus also minerals. And also we have a different list of vitamins and minerals that come together. Within all these are antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties, which means that these are things that work with food, within food, to help your body fight against disease, right? And it's not like you could say, I'm just going to take vitamin D in a pill form, or I'm going to take my vitamin E in a supplement. You need food, because what we don't know at this point, nutrition is a very young science. And what we don't know at this point is it the vitamin C that is also in the vegetables that makes iron more absorbable, just as an example, right? There are different nutrients that work together within your diet to create a healthier you. And so when you are eating, you want to get your nutrition from food. A wide variety of food, and as a dietitian, I always say, I think I'm ready for people to stop calling them carbs and just call it sadza, because that's what it is. And let's just eat good food. I think that's important. But on here, what I want you to understand is that the overall components of your diet are extremely important in providing your body the nutrients that it needs in order to fight disease. Most importantly, right now, we are talking about anti-inflammatory properties. I want you to think about a time when you hurt yourself, right? Maybe you hit your head on the wall. What happened when you hit your head on the wall? How did your body respond? 3 hours later, somebody who didn't see you hit your head on the wall says, something is wrong. What happened to your head? There's an obvious bruise right there, right? That tells you you hit your head somewhere. And the body responded. The swelling that occurs when you have an injury is your body trying to heal itself. Your body says, whoa, we're under attack. And it sends all these healing blood cells, white blood cells, over to your body in order to fight, right? And help you to heal. But what happens sometimes is that inside our body has the same mechanisms. That manifestation of that bump on your head is a sign that something is wrong. And so what we want to do is, I always love to quote Tuku when I talk about this, right? Because Tuku says what? Look at that thing that caused your head to swell or to hurt, right? So when we talk about diseases and lifestyle, right? Sometimes we have symptoms that our body is fighting. And we have this inflammation that is going on within our body. And so we have to find the underlying cause. Diet has been linked as a cause of inflammation within our bodies. Sometimes we have symptoms such as high blood pressure, such as high blood sugars, or we might feel dizzy or different things, but sometimes we just don't have those. But diet plays a very important role. So I'm going to give you 4 of my favorite tips for managing through this process so that you can start to create a healthier plate. All right, so what are my 4 recommendations? First, when you see this plate, what do you see? I'm going to experiment real quickly and see how fast we can do this. Somebody can take themselves off mute and just tell me quickly what you see on your screen.
Masao.
You see Masao? Oh my gosh, I really thought nobody would recognize Masao. Yay, thank you. Thank you for that. You see Masao. What else do you see?
Mauyu.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see?
Okay, mulberries and red cabbage.
She said,
Okay. Mulberries, red cabbage, right? Does anybody see color?
oh yeah.
This is a colorful slide.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 1 thing, so people always ask me, what should I eat in order to be healthy? My answer is always like, eat in color. Eat in color. What does that mean? A colorful diet. It's mawuyu, it is masao, it is mananga, it is pawpaw, it is red cabbage, it is my granadilla. Whatever it is that makes you happy in your tummy, right? Talk good food. It's about being happy in your tummy, right? Whatever it is that you like, but make it colorful. Here's the thing. When you eat a colorful diet, you get a wider range of nutrients from your diet, okay? Right? So reds give you lycopene, which is good for eye health, right? We have the greens and the orange fruits that all provide different nutrients. And those nutrients are what help your body to heal and to fight, right? You need to have that colorful diet. So people always say to me, don't eat white foods. I have no idea where that came from, right? Because white is also a color, and white foods provide different nutrients that help your body do something. All right, so have a wide variety of foods, a whole colorful diet, because that's the kind of like the primary thing. So practical tips. One thing we're learning right now is the role of the microbiome. I think that's a big word for 2020, maybe 2021. The microbiome is your gut. The gut is this diverse little ecosystem of different little microbes that live in there. Right? We tend to think of microbes as bad things, but when it comes to the microbiome, these are the good or the friendly bacteria. We want these guys to be hanging out with us, right? Because these are the nutrients, these little microbiomes are essential. And right now, a lot of research is coming out about their role. They are believed to be very important in terms of managing our health, and have been associated with a wide spectrum of things, such as diabetes and heart disease, and even degenerative diseases of the mind. People are starting to look to say, what's in your gut? What does your microbiome look like? The more diverse your microbiome is, the healthier that you can be. Now, what do I mean by a diverse microbiome? That means you have billions, not millions, but billions of little guys that live in your belly, different types of guys, microbiomes, like microbiotics. And so they all live in your gut. And the more diverse, the greater it is. Eating in color helps. The challenge for you right now is that you have 30 different species of plants in your diet every single week, not day, because if you have those every single day, you're going to be in the bathroom all day long, right? Okay, but you want to have 30 different plant species in your diet each week. Okay, so people, I can see some faces and people are like, hey, how am I going to get that? That's a lot of different plants. I got you. All right, let me give you an example of what this looks like. So on here, you see plate. This is actual food that I ate, okay, over the course of a week, right? And so I think with the exception of the breakfast plate, I think in the morning I wake up so hungry, I just don't have time to take pictures, right? So forgive me for that, but this is a plate which is very typical to what I would eat. Only difference is the tomatoes are cut up and I have onions in there and I have bell peppers in there and I just scramble them up with eggs in there, right? I think that's kind of like Zim style Sunday morning, right? is what we call it in my house. But when you look at this, let's count the different plant species that I had this week. So on the morning plate, you see tomatoes. You know, I'm going to take credit for my onions because normally I have onions a lot more than what you see here in there, right? So I have tomatoes, I have the onions. You know, I'm not gonna count the wheat, but the wheat also counts as part of the bread. Okay, for lunch, I had munga sadzare munga, I had some veggie, I had tomatoes in my stew, and I had, well, I think I already counted bell pepper. Then for dinner, I had the veggie. I don't get credit for it again, okay? Only 30 different species, right? And I'm not gonna take credit for the tomatoes or the other items that I used to make the soup, but I had guava and I had peanuts. So I had 9 different plant species in one day. So what do you think? 30, achievable? Yeah, piece of cake, right? Show me your pictures. I love to see people do this challenge. So when you do it, show me your pictures, prove it to me that you did it. All right, so the second thing that I want you to do is eat, okay, veggie, right? I just talked about veggie. Eat a lot of vegetables, especially the green leafy vegetables. Right here, I have a picture of me picking some vegetables from my garden, but it can be any type of leafy green. I think in Zimbabwe, we are blessed with wide variety, tsunga, chomolia, kovo, whatever it is. And then we have mutsine, mowa, mbora, all these different leafy greens that we have. These are very important. A diet that is filled with leafy greens has been associated with reduced obesity, heart disease, blood pressure, as well as it prevents mental decline. And one of the things that I think of is leafy greens are really high in nitrates. When nitrates get into your body, they convert into nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is important because it helps your blood vessels to relax. When your blood vessels relax, blood flows freely, and that helps to decrease blood pressure. So eating your vegetables is very important. But I'm going to say this because so many people that I work with tell me, Chipo, I had my vegetables. And whenever I work with clients, I say, show me the evidence, show me the pictures. And then they send me their pictures. And the pictures show me a teaspoon. I'm not even gonna call it a tablespoon. A teaspoon of green on the plate, okay? But I'm all about progress, not perfection. So, okay, kudos. The most important thing is we gotta start somewhere. You can't go from 0 to 100, right? It's about starting somewhere. So start small. It's okay. But the goal is at each meal, you have about half a cup, okay, of vegetables at each meal. One easy way to look at it is I'm going to go back to this picture here. What do you see on the veggie, right? It's almost about half my plate is vegetables, okay? And so you want to have about half of your plate with vegetables. Some people always say to me, how exactly am I supposed to eat all that stew and vegetables with that little salsa? I think that it is something that comes with practice, and you have to go through it and you have to eat the different types of foods and vegetables. And you will notice that at some point, you don't want any more salsa because you're full. Vegetables are full of fiber, which is extremely important to help us stay full and to help us get better. All right. The next thing that you see on your screen is one of my all-time favorites, nyimo, right? Okay, and nyimo, first of all, I am thrilled, totally stoked, because nyimo made it on the top 50 future foods, which are basically foods that are listed to be underutilized in the world, but to be extremely environmentally friendly. I'm gonna leave it to my friends that are in agriculture to kind of tell us more about nyimo, but the world is talking about them right now, and I'm getting to teach a lot of my colleagues and kind of show off about the food that I grew up eating. To me, nyimo was a snack. Little did I know that it has such wonderful properties. But I use nyimo in the broader context of beans and legumes. We want you to eat more beans and your legumes within your diet, right? To my boarders out there, those boarding school beans that we ate, right? More, right? Let's go back and start eating more of those. Okay, if you don't like beans, I hear you, I see you. Find something in the legume, right? Find something in the legume. I see you, girl. Mrs. H, I see you. Find something in the legume field that you enjoy and enjoy it and eat it. One of the things we know is that diets that are loaded with a lot of red meat have a higher incidence of disease, including some forms of cancer. We want you to start decreasing the amount that you eat. You don't have to be vegetarian, but you want to follow a plant-forward diet, which means that plants are more involved on your plate. You have more plants on your plate. It could start as something as simple as, one meal a week. I'm just going to have no meat on my plate. And I'm going to have more beans. And maybe I'm going to use dory or peanut butter instead, right? But just including more plant foods, especially your beans and your legumes on your plate. I think that's a very, very important component. Check my time real quick. Okay, I think we're good. We're doing good. And then here's one of my favorite drinks, right? Who doesn't love maheu, right? Everybody loves maheu. And maheu is important. I talked about those little guys that live in your belly, the microbiome. The microbiome is fed a lot by fermented foods. You don't have to go get kimchi or sauerkraut or whatever it is. We have it in our home. right? We have it as part of our culture. So whether it is my hewu, porridge, or lacto, kakawaka, right? Those are the foods of our heritage that were designed to keep us healthy. What we know is that these particular foods contain some sort of probiotics, which are actually designed to help your gut feel better and live better, right? So eat a lot more of these fermented foods, get more from our heritage, right? And just kind of absorb them. So people always ask me, Chipo, what do you like? You know, when you say you have superfoods, which is not a term that I use often, but if I had to pick my favorite foods from the Zimbabwean diet, what would they be? The first item would be mawuyu. I love baobab. And I currently live, as Jen shared, I currently live in the United States. And when I was pregnant with my first, I craved baobab. And I told people to go find baobab. And somebody found baobab from me from Senegal. And somebody also brought it in to me from Zimbabwe. There was an African shop that was selling, and I got my fix for baobab. But that's how much I love this stuff. Now, why do I love it? It's extremely rich in a wide variety of nutrients and has calcium as well, which is a nutrient that we tend not to get enough of, right? Many people, when they think of calcium, they automatically think of calcium from milk. But there are other sources of calcium as well, of which baobab is one. If you ever have time and you want to do some reading or YouTubing, Google the Hadza tribe of Tanzania. The Hadza is one of the last hunter-gathering tribes of the African continent. And one of the things that they eat is baobab. And baobab is one of their primary foods. You know, they hunt and they gather. And when they analyze their diets, they realize that they were extremely high in fiber, which is one of the things that this fruit has. So some sources list that 2 tablespoons of mawuyu powder, baobab powder, have about 9 grams of fiber, which is about maybe 2 medium-sized apples. Just 2 tablespoons of mawuyu have about that much fiber. So looking at it from that way, right? Fiber is that power nutrient. I recommend it for everybody. If you're trying to lose weight, fiber. If you're trying to beat diabetes, fiber. If you're trying to beat high blood pressure, eat more fiber, right? We don't get enough of it. But fortunately, we have foods such as mawuyu to kind of help us through the way. The next favorite food right here, this is hibiscus. Now, I didn't grow up with hibiscus within my home, but I learned about it when I was basically in college as part of the functional nutrition class. And I looked at it and I said, I know this particular flower, right? Because my mother used to pick the leaves and make derere with it, okra. Right? She used to make okra and then she'd cut up the leaves and then she'd throw it in. But later on, I found out that hibiscus is this power food that is known to actually help reduce blood pressure. In some cases, is as effective as some blood pressure medication. Note to you guys all, I am not saying get off your blood pressure medication and start taking hibiscus. Please work with your doctor as you go through that. But it's become one of my favorite things. And instead of drinking any sodas or any cordials, I just make myself a hibiscus tea, let it cool down and enjoy it. It's so refreshing. And then lastly, you know, this is sorghum, but I enjoy sorghum. I enjoy millet, a lot of our small grains. And I have come to really appreciate how versatile they are. Not only do we use them for porridge and sadza, but we're seeing millet breads and different types of foods that are being created using these. And I think that they're so underutilized, and I'm part of that generation that grew up not appreciating them. But now as time has gone on, I've started to really understand how important they are to our health and start appreciating the value that they bring. So these are my top 3 favorite foods, and I certainly enjoy them. I keep them in my pantry, and I love all 3 as part of a healthy diet. So in conclusion, for those of you that are saying, just give me the magic bullet, I'm gonna tell you what Morgan's Bullock said. Sorry, there's no magic bullet. You gotta eat healthy, You got to live healthy to be healthy and look healthy. End of story. All right, so my name is Cordialis Msora-Kasago, and I invite you to connect with me. Here's my email address, my web address. I have a mailing list, and I encourage you to join our mailing list, tapin54.com, as well as listen to my podcast. My podcast is called Pachoto, and Pachoto basically, as you know, is the place where we talk. But at Pachoto, I talk about food, health, and culture, because I don't know how to separate them. I think they all work together. So I hope you join me, and I look forward to hearing from you guys and taking your questions. Jen?
So wonderful. Thank you very much, Chipo. That for me was just fantastic. I'd like to open it up for any questions or comments from the group. I see Heather has her little finger up. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, when you said the beans, I was like, Krista Mambo, 6 years, no thank you, man. Roman Catholic, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, legumes, I'm good.
Yeah, I hear you, Heather. I think that's what I heard Jen call you, but I hear you. I'm St. Dominic's Chichawasha girl. I see you, girl.
No. But then the baobab tree, we use this one from Zimbabwe.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it because Zimbabwe has this. So I get it shipped for anyone who's going to Zimbabwe because I'm in the Netherlands and Zimbabwe doesn't have an embassy. I literally beg everyone in Germany, the UK, can you bring me this? So this one works. You're so right. I've been using it for porridge. I've introduced them to it.
Right.
And then I've introduced my...
Oh, I think I lost
Matemba.
Heather. Oh, Matemba. Yes, I love those little babies.
Yeah. So we're trying, but like you said, if you're not home, you tend to try and get that. But the problem I find if you're not in Zimbabwe is you don't get the actual, you have to import it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you have to import it, but I think that there's value for those of us in the diaspora of experimenting with other cultures. I am in the United States myself, and I never find what is Zimbabwean truly authentically Zimbabwean. But I will tell you that I've had luck in, Asian stores such as Indian stores and finding matemba and finding, sorghum. It might not be the same consistency that I'm used to, but it's there. And about your thing about baobab, I think that the world is learning about the value of our foods, and they are tapping into it. I'm like, let's tap into it first and share it with the world, rather than have the world tap into it and then come back and say, hey, we got this stuff, right. And so let's tap into it, and then we can kind of spread it out. But I think that's look into the other cultures as well and see if you have specialty stores that specialize in international foods, what they have. You might be surprised what they are selling in there. Found Mobora at a Filipino store.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Heather. I think it's so great too, because there are so many of these ingredients that Chipo's been talking about that are shared across tons of different continents and cuisines and food cultures. So I think it's also sort of a unifying thing that makes me feel good about eating it and good about eating it, like on top of it. I don't know. That's a silly statement, but anybody else? Let's hear from others. Nick, I see you making a move to your keyboard. Do you have a question? No?
Yes, I do.
Yanni, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, Chipo. Could you go back to your second slide, please?
Ooh. Which one?
Sorry, your third slide, the one with the determinants. Yes. Thank you. So on this slide, my question is reasonably straightforward. Where is booze? One of the things that, if you're going to include tobacco, then legitimately and modifiable risk factor is booze. And I think as someone reasonably recently arrived in Zimbabwe, one of the things that's striking here, for reasons which are pretty understandable, is the level of alcohol consumption and, frankly, abuse. And where that fits, especially as it pertains to NCDs, because I think the causal pathways are well known there. The second question I had is that, without asking you to disclose any confidentialities, I'd like to know a little bit more about your clients, both in the diaspora and if you have clients in Zimbabwe as well. I'd like to know what's motivating them to seek out your services. And is there a difference between what you see in diaspora populations versus those who are still in Zimbabwe? What's motivating people to learn more and perhaps change behavior at an individual level? Thank you.
Okay, those are very good questions. Thank you for those, Yanni. I think when we talk about unhealthy diet, we tend to also include alcohol in that conversation. You're certainly right. Alcoholism does contribute to a lot of diseases, and we need to reduce our overall consumption. And I think that the slide is extremely powerful because it also speaks to some of the underlying social, economic, cultural, political, and environmental determinants. So there's a lot of different factors that are coming in, and how do we address them from a holistic standpoint, I think is a very big challenge. But to answer your question, the short answer is we talk about it in terms of an unhealthy diet, because in so many times alcohol takes the place of healthy food. And then the next thing is, what's the motivation of people that I work with? I'm a big proponent of prevention. And while I would like to tell you that the people that I see are individuals that are coming to me because they want to prevent diabetes, it's not always the case. What I'm seeing is people come to me at the point when the doctor has told them that they have a chronic health condition and now they need to manage it. That is the point in which I'm seeing a lot more people. And I have clients both in the diaspora and throughout the African continent. I think mainly the draw is I speak African food, not just Zimbabwean, right? I've had the gift of being exposed to foods from different cultures. And when we look at it, at the base of it all, we all eat the same thing. We just prepare it differently. And we just enjoy it in different ways. But throughout the diaspora, we eat the same. And so I think that when I'm working with people, a lot of them are from the diaspora because they have identified themselves as having a health condition. And then I have people in the diaspora mainly that refer their parents or siblings to myself because they have been diagnosed with a condition. I wish I could change the tide, and I'm working on changing the tide so that we prevent more of these conditions. 80% is a very big number of diseases that can be prevented. So let's do it.
I love it. Thank you so much for both the question and answer. We have 2 minutes left. Actually, it says now less than a minute. I'm a little worried. Maria, could you quickly just say quickly?
Thanks for the presentation. It was very inspiring and informative. But you just referred to the proper diet assisting in the management of hypertension. But I understand from literature, there's also a sudden surge in hypotension, extremely low BP. Do you have anything to say towards that? Thank you.
Oh, Maria, I think that's a very good question, and we have less than a minute. I don't know that I can adequately address that in less than a minute, but I think it is certainly something that we need to take a look at and do a lot more deeper diving into in terms of understanding what's going on. It's something that I know is going on, but we need to have a deeper dive and start to understand what's going on.
Thank you so much. And sorry. No, thank you. And I'm sorry to rush through that last question. I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and especially you, Chipo, for tuning in and leading us through this important talk. And enjoy the rest of the Good Food Festival. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I bet.
I don't know if Maria can still hear me, please email me. I'd love to.
Bye, Nick. See you. Bye.
I'll share contacts.
Super awesome.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. It's your phone.
Okay.
It's not my fault.
Well,